obviously you're hearing these stories about well, if there's going to be a Canadian division. I don't know. I'm sure you guys talked about it last week. I've been off for 2 weeks, but I don't know where I stand having a Canadian division. I don't think it's good for the actual teams that are really good, which are 6. There's 6 Canadian teams that are really good.
Right.
Like you're going to have, if they have
scattered over 3 different divisions.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like if you have, for example, a Western American division, which they're probably going to have, you're going to have L.A., Anaheim, and San Jose and Arizona playing against each other a bunch of times. All 4 of those teams aren't projected to be playoff teams.
No, they were terrible last year.
Right.
And Arizona's much worse.
Vegas will dummy all of those guys.
Vegas and Colorado will absolutely rinse them.
Yep.
So if maybe Dallas is in there, depending on how things are laid out. If Dallas maybe is in the Central, depending on how the league looks at it. But I'm just thinking, McDavid playing Matthews 8 times, and then, Winnipeg playing Toronto. Like, there's going to be points left on the table. So at one of those California teams or Arizona is going to have technically as many points as one of these teams in Canada who are much superior on paper to them.
It's going to be like the NFC East, basically. Like if they do it like they generally do, they just realign, but they stick with top 3 get in plus wild card, which they might change to just simply top 4 from each division. Maybe get rid of the wild cards because of the disparity in terms of scheduling and the lack of travel and all that kind of stuff. If you do that and you simply go top 4, 2 teams are going to miss that would have felt like they'd have a shot in the traditional format of top 3 and 2 wild cards in your usual divisions with crossover and schedules and 82 games and all that kind of stuff. Right. Yeah, you're right. 2 teams are going to get burned. But I think it's a little bit short-sighted because I think if they stick with that also and they continue with you play the first 2 rounds within your division, you're going to have 2 Canadian matchups and then a third before you even get into the conference finals, which I think would be remarkable TV and remarkable content. I'm with you in terms of the balance and the competitive balance. It quite honestly might be the toughest division in the league, and it will be an absolute grind, and a couple of teams are going to miss out, and who knows which two teams that might be. Maybe it's Toronto and Edmonton that miss, and you're like,
how are they going to figure that out? There's a Canada division. How many teams come out of there?
Well,
that's what
they got to work on that right now.
It could be 4 of 7. Oh, so we're just throwing out the 7th because Ottawa's in a rebuild.
Ottawa's not making it in.
We're suggesting that Ottawa's not in there. So we're looking at 4 of the 6 that we believe, because we've had this debate on the show before. You could make a case for all 6 of these Canadian teams to be playoff bound or be the best team in Canada based on X, Y, or Z, whether it's goaltending or depth or defensemen. Like, Calgary made a splash and Vancouver, are they going to take a step back without Markstrom and Tanev, but then you add in Nate Schmidt and you add in Braden Holtby? Like, maybe they continue to take off. Edmonton, Draisaitl and McDavid, give them a chance every night.
Well,
Toronto,
I think the 3 Western teams are the ones that get jobbed the most because I think they would be the 3 favorites to finish top 3 in the division because the California teams aren't any good and Arizona's taken a massive step back. Yeah. So, and I guess Vegas would be in there with them, I guess, to wrap that up. But maybe Vegas would be the favorite. But the 2 of the other 3 are finishing second and third, you would presume. And because they probably beat up on the other 4 teams, you'd have a really good shot at a wild card. And that's just not going to be the case if it's an all-Canadian division exclusively. And let's say only 4 of 7 get in. But that sure seems like where it's going. I mean, there's way too much smoke out there. They're saying it on the record now. Like Gary Bettman's talking about it. Owners are talking about it. It's going to happen. It's going to be a Canadian division. It's just a matter of whether or not they cross over by the end of the year and whether or not it's top 3 and 2 wild cards in the East and in the West. But I don't know how you do an East and West when the Canadian division is made up of East and West.
Yeah.
So how do you determine wild cards? Unless you put them with another division and you mix it up based on that. But these are all things that have to be worked out, and it doesn't seem like they're that close to making an announcement. I mean, maybe we get caught off guard, and before you know it, 2 or 3 days down the road, boom, it's been done, it's been established. Here's where we're playing. Here's how we're playing. Here's what the schedule looks like. But the reports would not indicate it's that close. but we're almost into December, so it better be sooner than later if they're going to play come January 1 or middle of January.